Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. 5 days we said yesterday, now it's 4 days to the Ondo election. However, that's not what we're going to be discussing this morning. Let's, look at another area of the polity, retirement, political office holders and their retirements and their pensions. And in particular, former governors. Now, there seems to have been a rash. It's gone from Lagos State to Kwara State to Rivers State to Gombe to Akwa Ibom and others. But perhaps the one that caught the eye of most people, not because it was different, but simply because he's a comrade governor. I'm talking about Adams Oshiomhole. He's not by any means the only one, but his reform package is juicy to say the least. As the people of Edo State decided through their House of Assembly, the governor shall be entitled to a house, a residence to be built for him by the state to the tune of 200 million naira. His deputy gets a house of 100 million naira in value. And in the case of both of them, they can designate where these houses will be built. Now, as a matter of fact, Edo State is not the most luxurious because I understand that in other states, take Lagos, take Kwara, one house, those governors, those former governors, when they become former governors, or those that are already former governors, will have one house in the state, might be the state capital, might be, in the case of Kwara, Ilorin, for example, and one in Abuja, 2 houses. For some of them, not all of them. Maybe I didn't quite catch it, but I don't believe the case of Edo is exactly like that. But what is clear is that when they passed the amended bill concerning their remunerations, the governor of Edo State will indeed be entitled to a 200 million naira house and his deputy a 100 million naira house. So why is this? Why is it the way it is? That's what we'll talk about. We'll also take your inputs on this whole matter. Okay, maybe I should leave the questions for now and introduce my guests. Majid Jamiu, Executive Editor, Upshot Reports. Thank you very much, Majid, for coming on.
Good morning, Yori, and good morning, viewers.
Thank you. And Barrister Libros Oshoma, he's a public affairs analyst, and well, it could be anybody. I was going to say, and I will still say, he's an Edo man. So he will actually be building, will be participating in the 200 million naira house that his former governor, Adams Oshiomhole, will indeed be entitled to. Thank you very much for coming on, Libros.
Good morning, Yori. Good morning, Avia.
Indeed.
So
My
pleasure always.
Indeed. By the way, Majid, your state of origin is
Ekiti.
how many houses are you guys building for your former governors?
Well, except they are starting with Fayose, which is likely to happen because he has a firm grip of the assembly. I see that happening post-2018 when he completes his term. But as we speak, there is no such law in Ekiti. But I know that the former governors from Niyi Adebayo up until Fayemi, they don't have such luxury of having such
well, you call it a luxury, they call it a privilege. The people of the state House of Assembly, and by extension, the people call it a luxury. So let me start with, your case is still doubtful in the sense that we're not too sure whether there is such a law, but Libros has no such luxury. He has already approved a 200 million naira as an Edo man, and his state House of Assembly acting for him have approved a 200 million naira house for former governor Adams Oshiomhole. Why do you think he deserves it?
He doesn't deserve it, so I don't think he deserves it.
So your people, the State House of Assembly, they did not do your will.
That's where I'm going to. That now, for those that are still in the dark, this should be an eye-opener that during elections, we shouldn't be fixated on the executive only. We should also look out for those people that would stand their ground at the State House of Assembly. And I can tell you for free that it's almost a common trend in almost all the State House of Assemblies that when you are elected, for some first-timer, they would even extract a letter of resignation from you. So anytime you fall out of line, they tender the letter. And just all they just need to do is date it, that this honorable member hereby resigns his position from the House of Assembly. And so these are ways sometimes they use to browbeat them to fall into line. And so you now begin to wonder what kind of democracy we are practicing. Like the question I asked yesterday, with what we see now, our politicians are gradually killing democracy in Nigeria. Because a situation, if you go to Iyamo, that's Oshomole's village, if you see Oshomole's house in Iyamo, then you ask yourself for a comrade, a man who should live a very simple life, who the people, the ordinary man on the street would want to mirror their life after, living in a house like this where all your kids are schooling abroad. And it will get to a time, this house will be too bogus. And it gets to a point where it will be inhabited by cockroaches and rodents. I give an example. Benson Alegbe was one time Speaker of the Bende State House of Assembly. At that time, he built also a humongous house in his place, Abogida Ora. But if you get to that house today, it's definitely old, modern, old-fashioned, but overtaken by grasses, cockroaches, snakes, and rodents. And then you now begin to ask yourself, when you see these things happen, you still want to acquire so much, and at the expense of the people, where Edo State is not a state where you say, oh, there's so much money. Even if there's so much money, are the people, as we speak now, are they better for it? Are the people, can you compare Edo State, no matter how good, any state in Nigeria, no matter how good the government is, can you compare it with a district in Dubai? The same countries where you produce oil. And then coupled with the fact that we are in trying times. Times are difficult for everybody, and governments are not paying salaries. Pensioners are suffering. And so you ask yourself, quickly rounding up, so I yield the floor for Mujib, what's the essence of pension? The essence of pension, after working...
By the way, we're just talking about the house. As you know, also he will be getting whatever his remuneration
100%.
is now. 100% of that for life.
And so you ask yourself...
So exactly. No, I know there's a lot more coming there. But I'm going to come back to you. Majid, you then begin to probably now go back to the origin. Why do people come into politics? Of course, we'd like to say it's to serve, it's to be of service. That's the correct answer. The correct answer is that you only go into politics if you want to serve.
That's the dictionary meaning.
And even if, perchance, you find yourself hit with this kind of largesse, you as an individual can still object. You remember some stories that we were told about the president's remuneration. I just remember that example off the top of my head. The president's remuneration, him complaining that was far too much. Can you just take this back to the treasury, please? This is enough for any person to. After all, I don't pay for this, I don't pay for that. So just take this amount back. Now, that's what the president did. Nobody is saying everybody should follow the president's style. But we are saying that there are examples of people who refuse largesse. I have heard some people say that I don't want a salary. Some
even Trump said, I want just $1.
Yes. So there are people who say, okay, if that's the way it is, because I'm sensitive to my environment and what the people are, and this is just the way I am, I'm sorry, I don't want any freebies. Why? I haven't heard that from. And in the case of Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, he's a comrade. Comrades are not known to be lavish, multi-millionaires. So maybe he gave up the comrade title and we just never heard about it.
Yeah, the comrade comes with the name, as a former union leader.
But they say once a general for life.
See, even as a comrade.
The comrade is an ideological position, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's ideological.
That's what it's supposed to be. But then, even as the president of the NLC then, he came from this from the German. He was using this Note 9 Note then, Nokia, and people challenged him. How can you be using a cellular phone as it were then?
Yes.
And it cost quite a lot.
Like a capitalisto.
Yes. And as a comrade, I said it should be okay with just is a landline provided by NITO then. But Intercellular then had this what we call Note 9 Note. So it was very, very expensive. And he had to tell them that it needs to constantly communicate with all the other. That was his justification for using it
rest
then.
of the world.
Yes, with the rest of the world. And now, a comrade, like he said, the house he built in Yamu, a lot of people are amazed. So there is no way somebody like that would reject this kind of largesse from the assembly. And that is why we keep having a problem with the anti-corruption crusade of President Muhammadu Buhari. It seems he's alone in this battle.
Okay, although let it be said, nothing has been done wrong here.
According
to the books, the
of
laws,
course.
it's all squared.
A lot have been done wrong.
Which is very, very frustrating. I mean, nobody can step forward and say, sir, you're under arrest. Nobody can say that.
No, because
it
it
follows the laws.
It's backed by law.
It's backed by law. Wait. I know. I just opened a, broke a hornet's nest. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please. But we'll take your calls as well. Welcome back. So we're looking at jumbo pensions for ex-public officials, in particular state governors, against the backdrop of a rash of very, very juicy packages. Just not all the states, but many, many states have passed into law this, what we are calling a jumbo retirement package. If it is factual, if it is accurate, in Lagos, the Lagos version of it, allows the former governor to have a house in Lagos and one in Abuja. Same thing with the former governor of Kwara, Akwa Ibom, and it goes on and on. Now, there's nothing wrong, we were saying, in having a 200 million naira house. It's just that a lot depends on who you are. I don't know if you are what's that other gentleman, the bull, the glow man.
Adenuga.
If you're an Adenuga, exactly. If you got a 200 million naira house, so you're a Dangote, you got a 2 million naira house, so, and there are many other people who can legitimately have those kind of houses that we don't know their names. But when it comes to a former labor leader, and he's never been known to be an industrialist, not a real estate magnate, so there's nothing wrong with it, but I remember that Buhari rejected a certain portion of his remuneration that he thought was, unnecessary.
No, what Buhari actually rejected was, he said, as a retired general of the army. Yeah, I think 27 million per annum, and that is okay with that.
Thank you.
He now stopped the one that was coming from the presidency, as the former president. He said he doesn't need it too.
Which is a very un-Nigerian, quote-unquote, un-Nigerian kind of behavior.
We have governors who are senators now. Mm-hmm. They are taking the salary as a senator and also taking their entitlement as former governors.
That can't be right.
Contrary to the provisions of the Code of Conduct. Because the provisions of the Code of Conduct forbids you from collecting pension and at the same time drawing salaries as a public officer. But because what these people do, they
mind you, by the way, yes, we're talking about big men now. It happens with not so big men as well.
Yes.
This whole matter about retired somewhere, drawing a pension from there. You're too young to go stay at home. You find some other gainful employment. So it is done.
No. If it is not a crime, if you are retired and you're drawing pension and you decide to work in the private sector and draw salary. Okay. But if you're drawing pension, for example, as a retired permanent sec, and then you are appointed as a special advisor to a governor, and you're still drawing salaries from the same coffers where you're drawing pension, is contrary to the rule of the Code of Conduct.
Not just that's your luck.
No.
So we just need to
that's why also I say a wrong has been done here. A law ought to when a law is contrary to public policy, what is public policy here? In the midst of hunger, a man served for 8 years and you get 200 million naira house. In some cases...
Sorry, it's not public policy. I think you might say public morality.
Because no. Because there are tests for validities of laws, even though customary laws also. It must not be contrary to public policy. It must not be repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. But in this case, you have a law that is passed, and the public is crying that, look, this can't be. This is not representing us. And then somebody sits there, and then quickly,
Yes.
I wanted to explain what pension means.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Forgive me. I understand. In fact, most people know what pension means.
No. For the benefit of our viewers, pension ordinarily, if you work because that's why.
Sorry, Momo has come on the line from Ogudu. Let me take Momo. Good morning, Momo.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Mr. Yori, sure, the pension. Like what they said, the Edo State, the former Edo State governor, Adam Shomoni, do you know, as a policeman, when you even retire?
I think we lost Mama there. Mama, are you still there?
After 35 years, your take home is not even up to 6 million, even up to 5 million naira.
It's less than that. It's about 3 point something.
After 35 years of retirement, what you are going to take home is not even up to 5 million. Some are even getting 1.something million at the initial first payment. Not to talk if you even retire as an inspector of police.
No house, nothing.
Up to $1 million naira. So I don't know. I don't understand what's happening in this country. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Momo. You see, Majid, another aspect of this whole thing, I know Liberals is anxious to explain to us exactly what a pension is. I can put that on ice for the moment. I want to go back to a fundamental. This is an APC government.
Yeah.
APC came on the whole platform of things have to change. We can't continue to do what we've always been doing. In this particular case, also in the case of Kwara, the former governor of Kwara, the Senate president now, Saraki, he's of APC. So where exactly is the change? Where is the change in disposition, change in attitude? It's not business as usual.
Well, I think we need to let our viewers know that Oshiomhole is not in the court of law here. It's not being persecuted.
No.
There are 20 states.
Yeah.
I mean, on the last count, Edo is the 20th state.
That's right.
That will go this route.
Yes.
And we need to let them know that this is the first, APC state that is doing it post-Buhari regime, because Lagos did it before Buhari got there. But with Buhari as president, Edo State is the first to do it. But then it is also legitimate because it's been passed by the state. But we are saying that it stands logic heads down. As a comrade, we expect that he will come with a statement and say, no, please, I'm okay. I already have a fantastic property in Iyamu, where I stay.
And quite frankly, I don't need it.
And quite frankly, I don't need it. In fact, especially given the state of the economy. But we are waiting to see that. The law was just passed last week. So we wait to see. Probably it's still dialoguing, or rather consulting, as they would say. But I don't expect a comrade to take that.
Okay. One moment, because in the meantime, Yakub has come on the line. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Good morning, Chief Yori.
Okay, then.
And good morning. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Fine. Okay, thank you very much. Chief Yori, good morning. Then good morning to Choma and Mr. Majid. You see, Chief Yori, Nigerian citizens, we are not ready yet. If we are ready yet, Chief Yori, we will take our law into our hands. Why am I saying that? We will protest against this thing. You know what I'm saying, so Chief Yori? If Adams Oshiomhole as a governor of Edo State, former governor of Edo State, for that matter, do you not see that they are fooling Nigeria? They thought they are fooling Nigeria in their dresses. If Adams Oshiomhole can be able to wear jacket for telling us that he's a comrade, today now he's not taking 200 million out, Chief Yori. Okay, the question I want to ask here, Chief Yori, is this: how much are you going to house are you going to build for professor that served for 35 years in service, the entire IG, and all those people that work in service for 35 years, just ordinary single person serve a state for good 8 years and taking out of 200 million naira, Chief Jari, and then we are telling us that there's no money in this country. See, Chief Jari, until Nigerian citizens cry out and telling these people that they are the fool ones, they are not, they are the fool. Then they are the fool. We have to protest against this kind of a thing. Because a state, they are telling us they don't have money. They cannot even pay salary. And then you call yourself a comrade, and then you take 200 million naira out. Chief Jari, Nigeria, we are docile. We should wake up.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Majid. Sorry.
Yakub, Alhaji Yakub.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much for outraged. Yeah, we know the things that outrage
really,
people.
We need to.
But sorry. I wanted us to look at this thing from the point of view of what politics is all about, what we see it as being all about.
I wanted to attempt the question you asked Majid.
Which one?
The question on the APC change and this, we need to change our attitude to the way of it.
And where it looks like the president is the only guy on that particular crusade.
You just said it.
That's it.
On this crusade anti-corruption, the president is alone. Forget all this bandwagon of APC change and the rest. 99% of Nigerian politicians, be it PDP, APC, ABGA, AD,
Labour.
SDP, Labour, they are all in politics for money. And so that's why somebody will invest 2 billion naira to contest for a seat in Senate, because he wants to, it's an investment for him. So he wants to reap dividend.
So in that respect, nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
If that still happens.
It's happening. It's happening. And that's why you see the first question should be, Oshiomhole, from being a textile worker, he became a labor leader, junior staff. We need to understand that. And then he became a governor, and then he has a house that had been valued at almost 2 billion naira in Iyamu. And nobody's asking, where did you get the money to build a house like this? And now, rather than scold him, we are compensating him again for saying, oh, you have labored for 8 years for us. And so, take a house of 200 million in any way of your choice. You earn your salary for life 100%. You have 6 staffs.
Yeah.
And then you will have
which you choose.
You will have 3 cars, renewable every 4 years. You will have 5 policemen that would guard you.
Not
till
just
you die,
wait a minute.
for life.
As Majid pointed out, this is not just about Adams Oshiomhole.
No, in Lagos State, in Lagos State, is 6 cars, renewable every 3 years. And so, if in 12 years you have a car shop.
And for Lagos, it's one house
in Lagos, one in Abuja.
One house in Abuja.
And then you will have about 6 policemen. One must be a female to guard madam. And, your medicals are taken care of for your family. In Akwa Ibom, it's 100 million naira medical a year for you and your family in any country of your choice.
So how do we do
in
these
Rivers State,
things?
the same thing.
So don't forget that these people,
like Alhaji Yakubu said,
these people never did it for themselves.
Like Alhaji Yakubu said,
it required a state house of assembly to say that is how we want to be governed. But I've got to go to a quick break. Just hold it. Keep your gunpowder dry. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please. Okay, welcome back, and I think in this particular segment we'll leave the phones open so that you can get a word in edgeways. In an environment, in a work environment, a country where it's a tug of war to get hold of your pension when you have served. We hear news of soldiers, ex-servicemen collapsing on the line, trying to verify who they are so that they can get their pension. And in this case, Adams Oshiomhole and Edo State, they're not under any kind of inquisition. It's just that they are the latest, Adams Oshiomhole, former governor, and his state, latest in a long list The same with Kwara, and we've mentioned Akwa Ibom, Gombe, all over the place like that. Doesn't this sort of restate the argument for making politics less attractive in a pecuniary, materialistic sort of way, so that we can go back to what Majid referred to as the textbook definition of going out there to serve?
Yeah, you see, before I answer that, I think I'll let Nigerians know. I mean, going back to the fact that I think the president is alone in this fight against corruption.
Okay.
6 months ago, the president sent the name of the EFCC acting chairman, Magu, to the Senate. As we speak, it's yet to be confirmed. Some people are actually lobbying for the man not to be confirmed because they said it's too hard on
The fight
against corruption. So, you see, we live in a country where before 20,000, before year 20,000, before year 2000, a professor, when he retires, his pension is 1,300 naira a month.
You see that? A professor.
A professor before year 2000. But now, after it had been reviewed,
Because contributing pension.
Contributing pension is now 100% of his salary. And even how much does a professor, the
in
highest
the first
paid professor today in Nigeria takes home 6.2 million naira a year, which comes to about 500,000 a month. Whereas a member of the House of Reps, the reviewed package, because, by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, is 2.5 million naira a month.
Not the talk of the under the table and other allowances.
That's 2.5 million naira a month, while a professor, the highest paid professor, gets 6 million per annum. So are you?
Yes, so that begins to tell you some things.
Yeah,
now, Mr. Abdul Karim in Yola, Adamawa, thank you very much for holding on. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Please go ahead now.
Yeah, this is the problem of this Adam Osomole over this money that people are giving, talking about it.
Mr. Karim, it's not Mr. Karim. Yeah, it's not specifically Adams Oshiomhole. He's just the last in a series. It's the governors and the states.
Governors, I want to cite the example generally. You know the problem of this country. There are just people are not considering their duties. My own over this issue that people are talking over it is the problem of masses. We vote people that they are not right. They hide under one symbol. It's now that we are seeing the symbol. For me, all this fight that you see between State Assembly connection and the governors, if this governor or president of this country or this National Assembly can change, remove local government under state, all this scandal will not happen again because they told local government where they are getting the money. That's why you see State Assembly is compromising what governor wants. Yes, ordinarily, because the local government is not existing. They are getting appointing money. That's why you see State Assembly are doing laws that they are not supposed to do. Let local government live on their own. No one to contest for member because they know they are going there for making law. So that's the problem of this country.
All right then.
Let them amend the law of local government.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Karim. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate you. I wonder, I'm just thinking now, the situation we find ourselves in where up to 20 states have passed similar kinds of laws. Edo and ex-governor Oshiomhole just being the latest, the last in a series. Could the thinking be similar to the thinking behind the Mo Ibrahim Prize? And you know the thinking behind Mo Ibrahim's prize, I think there's some big money.
$5 million.
$5 million.
Yeah.
And the thinking behind...
leadership.
Yes. The thinking behind the Mo Ibrahim Prize for former heads of state in Africa. In Africa, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
For exemplary
leadership.
Exemplary leadership. So I imagine if a person goes ahead and serves very much the way Nyerere served, we're saying that at the end of it, you never stole a kobo. You're a dutiful servant. You never favored yourself. Now that you are out of service, we are going to reward you with a 200 million naira house. What about that line of reasoning?
No, not at all. Because
you're not buying that?
No.
Oh dear.
I asked the question. I said, you can trace his antecedent from coming from textile industry to labor to becoming a governor and then owning a house, that kind of massive house. And you ask the question, where did you get the money to build this kind of house? That question is still hanging. And then you now want to build another house of 200 million to compensate him for exemplary leadership when the basic questions have not been answered. It's not about wearing khaki like one of the callers said. It's not about hanging the name comrade. It's about leadership that people can relate with.
Well, then it goes back to who do we vote into office?
And that's where I'm going to. As I speak to you now,
Emeka in Imo State, I'll be right with you. One moment, please.
As I speak to you now, about 28 states are without resident electoral commissioners. As I speak to you now, card readers were introduced for election in 2015. But with the recent Supreme Court judgment, where the card reader might as well be forgotten. And the National Assembly had not done anything to say, how do we rectify it so that it becomes part of our laws? If we don't get our electoral practice right, we'll continue to get charlatans in office.
Thank you very much, Emeka, for holding on. Please go ahead now. Emeka in Imo State, are you still there?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I greet you for what you're doing and your panelists.
Thank you.
You see, it's like we are playing game in Nigeria. The issues are clear. We are talking about 200 million house for the ex-governor. And that other states have done before now. And nobody cried foul. It is a trend in Nigeria. It's a social trend in Nigeria. Like your panelists, one is Lazarus, a lawyer and a journalist, and you. The man that is taking the wheelbarrow on the street do not live financially at the same level you are, and these are reality. The former governor finished as a low-level staff and became a level leader and ran an election that is capital intensive. Nobody asked questions. His status has changed to a million level. So if we come most times in the national television and begin to question most of these things, it is a fundamental thing. The fight for corruption, I see it as a jumbo play, a national jumbo play, and an acronym to get people's attention and all that. Even the man in Abuja doing that, we say he is alone for fighting corruption. How many fleet? What are his interests? The daughters and sons are living at flamboyant rates that a professor cannot afford. A lot of, you see, these things most times when we come on stage like this, we should bring social realities to bear. A governor who has been a governor before, his volume of financial control have increased and improved. 2 million house is not equal to what he already has. Can we grant or take a vote for him that he has not saved 200 billion from the state coffers? So Nigeria is into a very serious political class economic problem. As your status increases, and depending on where you are, the volume of money you spend goes with it. A wheelbarrow man will be talking about 10,000 naira to make sure he goes home for Christmas to celebrate. A governor will not be talking about 10,000 naira because it won't do for his recharge card. He will be talking about a Ferrari that is done in Japan today that will be flown into this place. And before you know, it's in millions. So I think we have some problem in our system. Until we begin to close the social gaps that affect our economic control and the status and the amount of money we do, we will still be talking like this in the next 10 to 20 years.
Thank you very much for calling in, Emeka. Thank you very much, Emeka.
That's why I disagree with him.
And because what
Emeka
is talking about?
How do you close this social gap?
It's a social revolution, no less, that is being called for.
If we say the governor's status has changed, and so because his status has changed, what is 200 million naira house to him? But that fund that is meant to close the social gap, you're using it to enhance the social status of one man. And so the next man comes and says 200 million naira is now too small for me. So you also continue to enhance those social status. And that's why we are saying you need to reform your electoral processes to ensure that you have people that can close these social gaps. You have people that will look at 200 million naira and say, look, I live alone with my wife. I don't need a 200 million naira house. In fact, the 3-bedroom, it's modest for me. Because at the end of the day, if you want to visit Alhaji Lateef Jakonde now, go to Elukpeju, close to the police station, just climb upstairs. There is no gate man at the gate. You ask for Baba Kekere, they will sit you down in the sitting room and they will call him, you will interact with him. No formalities. And is he not a former governor?
Of Lagos, yeah.
Of Lagos State, a metropolitan state. We're talking about social status. So if we talk about social status, then you should say his status should be high up in the heavens.
Okay, so what is, following from what Emeka has contributed, so what exactly is wrong with us? By which I mean, when we sit down, some of us, and formulate policy, and come up with ideas like this, that, you know, that which we define as a public officer, and in particular, a governor of XYZ state, guys, I think he should be entitled to this when he, you know, hands over the baton. When he's no more the governor, we think he should be, you know, like this. And whoever this bunch of guys formulating this policy are, they say, yeah, you know, that's a good idea. Let's write it down. It's become a guiding policy. So what's wrong with us? Where did those people come from? Not from within Nigeria, because people often ask that, are you going to go to the moon to bring people? Is it not inside Nigeria here?
Yeah, so many things are wrong with us. There's a decay in the system. I mean,
yeah, but the coming of APC was supposed to address that, if not fix it.
Are you the one saying this?
Including those of us who are even talking about it. Because now, in the days of yore, you have the Nigerian, National Association of Nigerian Students would have come out with statements.
Exactly.
But now, rather than do that, they'll be giving awards to these same governors.
Okay, one moment. Let me go on another break. I'll be right back. Home stretch now, looking at jumbo packages for our governors. About 20, if not a bit more than 20 states have passed laws allowing them to give their former governors mansions. In the case, the latest one, Edo and Oshiomhole will be 200 million naira house, his deputy 100 million naira house, and that's almost like just the tip of the iceberg. All sorts of things also come onto it. But I interrupted you, Majid.
Yes, like I said, the Nigerian NANs, rather than criticize some of these things with the kind of vibrancy that we see in those days, like the Ali Mongo protests and all.
NANs being National Association of Nigerian Students.
I mean, they have gone to those sides. Rather than do that, they would rather give awards to governors who will, in turn, sponsor the Student Union Week and stuff like that. Yeah. Now, recall when David Cameron just left 10 Downing Street. It was, it went viral. He was packing his stuff by himself from the 3-bed 10 Downing Street. 2 weeks later, we saw him at a beach eating burger, like an ordinary man. The moment Obama leaves office in January, he's going back to his former apartment. Nobody thinks of building. In fact, it's going to be poorer. But in Nigeria, the converse is the case.
Now, let me take Chief Ekpeyong. Chief Ekpeyong is calling in from Akwa Ibom. Good morning, Chief.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it's a pleasure to interact with you this morning.
We're very happy to have you.
Yes. Please, whenever I'm watching this program, especially about corruption in the country, you really made my blood pressure to rise up. Because
All
we
of
keep
our
on
blood
talking-
pressure rises.
Yes,
Our
we
first
keep on
take
talking
pill
about
before we talk
corruption
about
and no
it.
concrete action is being taken.
Yeah.
I think the country has been taken for granted because what we need now is social revolution. That we have to rise up. We have to call the civil society to rise up and fight corruption, not the president alone. Buhari cannot do it alone.
But we're not talking corruption here, Chief Ekpeyong. We're talking legitimate House of Assembly approved largesse.
Yes, because that is part of the corruption, the corrupt practices of the former governors who are now in the Senate. These people, same corrupt governors are in the Senate. What are we expecting the country? How do we expect the country to get out of this problem? We have to call the civil society to rise up. What we need is social revolution, where we rise up and sack the Senate, sack the National Assembly, get these people bundled to the prison.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Chief Ekpeyong. We're really managing our time now. Thank you very, very much for calling in. That call, I hope it is not going to fall on deaf ears because
because
everybody's talking
gradually,
about
that's why
corruption, but
I
nobody
told
wants
you-
to do anything about it.
I told you that gradually, the way we are going, our politicians are gradually destroying democracy. Fela said one thing, this uprising will bring out the beast in us. And people are saying, it is easy for you to say, oh, it's only on social media that people
That
complain.
is, to quote that fella, that is Beast of No Nation.
Yeah, Beast of No Nation.
You know, that's the title of that song.
So it is easy for people to say it's only on Facebook that will complain. But the way it is going gradually, you see people are taking to arms gradually.
Well, we hope not.
Yeah,
and we certainly
see,
will not
that's-
advocate that.
No, we're not
I mean, for the
advocating
avoidance
it.
of doubt,
Yes, that's
we
not
must
what
say
that's
that
not what we're
we hope.
advocating.
Yes.
But you find out that it started from, militancy to kidnapping to Boko Haram, and now it's everywhere. That even in broad daylight, you kidnap former ministers, you kidnap kings, you kidnap relations of ministers, serving ministers. It's gradually.
There's been a sort
it's
of a morality collapse.
Exactly. It's a statement, gradual statement. And if the politicians and the government does not sit down to check this, why is all of this happening? Rather than throw money at the problem, give amnesty, it will get to a time where it will be a total collapse and it will be difficult for us to amend or ameliorate.
Majid, do you think it's too much to ask that these kind of measures be submitted to some sort of a plebiscite, some sort of a referendum that, you know what, guys, of this state, XYZ state, we're thinking of doing this for our former governors. We'd like to hear your inputs. Yay or no?
Even if the people say no, of course they know the response from that kind of referendum, so they won't even throw it open to a debate.
So they're bent on
The
going their
referendum
way.
can be manipulated.
It can even be manipulated.
I'm not telling the people have spoken.
They'll bring people there and induce them, and they will get what they want.
That bad?
Yeah, it is as bad as that. So we have a very docile populace now. But then, like Libro said, we are gravitating towards a near state of anarchy, where the United Nations said we have 350 million small arms. We are saying now that we have about 160 million population, and we have a population of 350, which means on the average, like an average Nigerian has two of these small arms now.
Statistically speaking.
So by the time, if we allow the bubble to burst, and with the way we are going, people are getting so disenchanted.
So how do we go about not letting the bubble, so to speak, burst?
It's about it's about actually doing the part of change. Change in the sense that
which hasn't happened yet.
In the real sense of it.
In the real sense of it. Look, this is the way that we used to do things. Now we need to amend our laws to encourage, open participation in the electoral process, and also reduce the costs of governance, make governance unattractive. If you want to serve, let it be true service, and not when you are a vulcanizer today and then the next thing you become a councillor.
So that
you become
Cameron that vacated 10 Downing Street,
exactly, it will no longer be
he could do that on a principle,
yes.
because he didn't invest £2 billion to get into office in the first place.
Yeah. And so when you do that, and then you have a training program, leadership training program that people, I don't need to steal to afford a house on mortgage. I will not need to steal to afford decent school for my children. I will not need to steal to afford, you know, a holiday in any part of the country where I feel like I should holiday.
But you know the biggest problem here, the biggest problem, Libros, is that the beneficiaries, all it would take is for the beneficiaries of this measure to reject it, to object.
How do they object when they orchestrated it in the first place?
That is it.
The House of Assembly will not suspend its rules to pass a pension act.
Have
you ever heard?
Which is what happened in Edo State.
Exactly. Have you ever heard that the House of Assembly suspends its rule to pass a law that will address the causes of the common man? No. They will drag the matter and it will go through all the processes. And sometimes a whole 4 years is not enough. But when it affects them, but quickly, my message to Nigerians is all of them are the same. We should not be divided. We should refuse to be divided on whether to support this or to support that. It should be about the interest of Nigerians. And once we are united on what affects us, then it will be easier for us to speak with one voice in matters like this.
Majid, I like very much what Libros has said, but I'm afraid it's an idealistic position. Because where will he get the people to follow him? This is part of our problem.
We need a social...
It looks like we're stuck here.
No,
in the absence of a social revolution, we're stuck.
We need a social reorientation. I mean, right from the grassroots. Because
social reorientation.
Yes, no, because even the woman selling unripe banana, that will go and use carbide to get it ripened.
Yes.
And I mean, you manipulate. They did it. I mean, we want to buy a 50 kg, I mean, a 25 kg bag of rice, and they put something inside. Before you know it, they'll siphon.
Yes. He wants to
siphon
make extra money.
Extra money.
To be able to pay for that extra rent, to be able to pay for that extra school fees, to be able to afford that extra transport.
So the whole thing, so
the
we're in a
government is not providing.
It's in
moral mess.
It's in all of us. You hire somebody to make 100 plates of rice for you. I mean, you bring 60.
Yes.
You bring 40 and then divide it to make up 100.
And we'll tell you, yes, you have your 100 there. So it's in all of us.
So I guess what we've done is that you can't even say anything. You can't even say anything. You can't say anything. You can't say anything. You can't say anything.
And we're already saying something. You see, let me give you an instance in all of these pension issues also. Look at the way we're treating the returned Chibok girls. We're very happy the government is giving scholarship. But have we ever asked the question, the soldiers that are fighting to keep peace, to ensure that more people are not kidnapped, how are we treating them?
Well, on that note, we got to say thank you very much, Libros Oshoma, lawyer and public affairs analyst.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
After stealing 2 minutes more of our time. And Majid Jamiu, thank you very much, executive editor, Upshot Reports. I'll be back tomorrow, God willing, with a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.